Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Empowering Women in Family Law Strategies for Success, Anna Blood shares some tips for female attorneys to succeed in family law while reviewing some of the barriers that still need to be overcome. If you want to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
So this is just a little quote that we put up here for you guys. And, tips for success. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. There are a million inspirational quotes out there that you can find. And this is just one that we put up here that we felt like was, really inspiring. And, as far as, tips for success, I talked a little bit about that in the beginning. I think, I'll just go back to that word grit. I wrote an article for a newspaper a magazine in Baltimore, and it was about women in business, and kind of the article was about success and things like that. And I wrote a lot about the word grit and how I feel that word defines how we can transcend any obstacles that we have. I love sharing my business story with people. I basically started my business kind of out of necessity. When I had graduated law school, the market was not very good. Attorneys at that time were making about $30,000 a year, which is not a lot of money. And now with inflation and how crazy things are, we think, wow, how is that even possible? And I had a child at the time. When I went to law school, I had my oldest, who's now 13. He was a baby at the time. So, and I went to Charlotte School of Law, and I graduated in 2.5 years. I did kind of the accelerated track. And so when I came out, and firms were offering these, really low salaries, I'm kind of looking at it like, wow, I don't know how I can survive on that. So I ultimately went out on my own, kind of out of necessity, but necessity can be a great motivator and a great tool for, success. So, I was a mother. I had a family. I wanted to be able to provide something extra, and what was available on the market at the time was not, just wasn't going to be enough for my family. So what I did was, a lot of it was out of necessity. So, I rented a one room, like what you would consider like a little suite. We didn't have any startup money or anything like that. I just had a computer in a room and grew it organically. We would go, back then we didn't have any money for marketing at all. So I started my business in this little town called Waxhaw. So we were like in this little downtown area. I would go like door to door to people. I joined the local chamber. I was going to events. Really grinding is what I like to say. Lots of time away from, I had 2 kids at that point, lots of time away from my husband and my boys, and just, working my butt off pretty much. And, and just, things grew organically. Then, over time I had a little extra money for marketing. So, I just continued to reinvest back into the business. And, I have always looked up to other women that were successful, attorneys specifically, and just, what did they do that worked? And I've tried to, exemplify and pursue excellence and other things that I've seen that's worked for other attorneys, and just try to, just keep working at it. So, tips for success. I think and this is the other thing I would say about that. I listened to a speaker one time at a women in business event, and one of the things that she was talking about was, and she did a show of hands in the room. She said, how many people in here are working every day on a goal that they have, whatever that is, with your business? And I remember that I was like one of the few people that had my hand up at the end. And I think that's really important. You have to be obsessed with your business and you have to be obsessed with your success because nobody else is going to be. Nobody's going to do it for you. No one's going to show up like you are. You know, I have about 20 staff now, and no one is, at the end of the day, like, the business is your baby. Nobody's going to care about it as much as you do. And your employees are not going to care about the success of the business if you don't. So however you intend on growing or, whatever you're putting into your business, you just have to be completely dedicated to the success of your business, and you have to do it every single day. And you need to have in your mind, whatever your goals are, whether that's, I want to have $1 million in revenue next year. I'm going to open another, my second location. I'm going to hire 2 more associates. You need to have a goal in mind, and be doing something every day to work towards that goal. So you have to be, persistent is another great way to describe that. So, as you all know, when you're in law school, you don't learn about running a business. You pretty much go to law school and learn about being a lawyer. I did take one class in law school that was small and solo practice because I always knew I wanted to go out on my own. I wasn't planning on doing it so soon after I got out of law school, but like I said, I was kind of sprung into that out of necessity. And thankfully it worked out. But you just got to always be working towards that. And yeah, that's the best advice I can give you on that. This is something that, so we're talking about specific challenges that women face in family law. This is something that is hard to talk about for some people, and I'm a very transparent person. I am just kind of like an open book. I'll tell you, I think one of the hardest parts when I went out on my own with my business was the negativity and kind of pushback I received from other attorneys, and a lot of that are mostly female. I think women can be so competitive with each other, and it's really unfortunate because we really should be working to, help each other along. But I think family law specifically is so competitive because, attorneys know like family law is expensive. You can make money doing family law. So I think people, they see you and you're going out and doing something and they don't, it's a threat to them. You may be taking more business in the area or things like that. And so I think that is something that's really, really hard to navigate. I would say if you can have even just one person that's in your corner that is, a female colleague, or a male colleague, just somebody, or, somebody that you feel like you can talk to, because, everybody here's just saying like, it's lonely at the top. That's so true. I'm really grateful that, I have my sister is working with me now. She's been here about 2 years, but, she hasn't been here the whole time, but she's a lot younger than me, but you've got to have somebody that you can kind of piggyback or talk to about things. I have a few female colleagues that are attorneys that I can talk to about stuff with my business. Hey, are you seeing these kind of market trends? Or, what do you think about this? Or I interviewed this associate, they were wanting this much money, things like that. I think it's so important to have somebody that you can talk to about this stuff. And so I think that is one of the most challenging things. So on the slide where it talks about the nature of the cases, I think that just goes to family law in general. And any of you that practice family law, it's just really competitive. And so, we're in this adversarial system where we're pitted against each other in court and our clients are pitted against each other. So it's natural to have this kind of adversity. One of the things that my firm, that we I've set the expectation for all of my attorneys and the way that we conduct ourselves. We're always extremely professional and we're always kind to the opposing counsel. I don't care if my client and your client hate each other. I am not going to be disrespectful to the opposing counsel. I'm not going to talk to the other attorney like my client would talk to their spouse. And there's a lot of attorneys that operate that way. There's a lot of attorneys that make money operating that way because a lot of clients come into this and they think that, well, are you going to be really aggressive? And I try to, anytime I hear somebody say that, I'm like, well, let's explore that a little bit because, what is that going to get you really? So, I mean, if you just absolutely hate the opposing party, okay, that's fine. If you want to go to court, that's fine. But we all know, when you go to court, the judge is the one making the decisions. Very rarely is the judges happen to pick one side. It's usually somewhere in the middle. So it's not a situation where you don't go into court and one person is getting everything they want. And that one person, if your attorney gets in there, if you're jumping up and down, because I know you guys have all been in there in these situations where you have opposing counsel that's banging papers on the desk and Your Honor, and standing up and screaming and making this scene. And I'm just looking at them like, wow, really? So I think that is going away a little bit as kind of time goes on, because that's kind of the older style of practicing law. But there are a lot of firms out there that want their attorneys to be that way. So if somebody comes out of law school and they get hired at one of these firms, that's how they're going to be trained to act. So I can always tell when I got somebody on the other side that has been trained to be that way, or they're just, it's obnoxious. It's so obnoxious. I can't stand it. It's part of the reason why the longer I've been practicing, I enjoy running the business more, because I like being a lawyer. The general premise, I loved law school. I think that I'm a true believer in the system as far as the fairness. And, I think that we're generally trying to do good with people with our legal system. I'm not always happy with what judges do, and I don't always agree. But for the most part, I have a huge respect for the legal system and what we do in this country. And we're lucky to have it. But, there's just some attorneys that take it to a different level. So anyways, I think we just have to stay on track with, what we're there to do. So, the point about general societal expectations, I think as time goes on, a lot of those have kind of, eroded a little bit. I think there's a lot of women that are, in the workplace, and honestly, there's more women lawyers now than there's ever been, especially even in law school. When I went to law school, and that was over 10 years ago, there were more, more women than men. So just a little quote here from the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Women belong in all places where decisions are being made. It shouldn't be that women are the exception. So, she was a huge trailblazer for women, as we know. And, women have come a long way. And women are powerful. We really are. We birth children. We bring life into this world. So women are really so strong. And I think we have to just support each other and remember that we, we are extremely powerful. We can do anything that we put our minds to. I'm going to talk about this later. There's a whole section on work-life balance, but I think this is a good place to mention work-life balance as well, because I think being a woman, we get pulled in so many directions. Like I was saying at the beginning, I wear different hats. That's probably the hardest part if you're going to be a mom, practicing law and or owning your own business, because your business is like your baby. But you've got, other kids that are your babies too, and they need you. So I think that's always going to be a challenge. You just have to prioritize what you can. As time has gone on for me personally, I don't take as many cases. I just don't, because I don't have time, and my business needs so much of my attention now that I can't be an attorney and be a business owner, and be a mom and a wife and all those things I need to be. I could be, good at a few things, or I can be, like excellent at, one and two or three things. I want to be excellent at running my business. So that's kind of, where my focus has been and is continuing to be. In the next 5 years, I plan on be pretty much phased out of taking clients and just solely focused on running the business and growing it and doing more PR, kind of like this CLE that we're doing today. I love to just talk about women in business and success and share stories and, be a support for people. And I mean, here even at the firm, we do have a guy. We had an all female staff for a long time, not because I didn't want to hire men. It was just, like I said, there's more women in the field now, as seems to be, than there used to be. So I think, women supporting women is a great thing. And, women supporting society. Like we, for a long time, it was men mostly in the workplace. So they were the ones making changes in society, like being, go out and change the world. So what's really great about women being in business and women working is, now we have a chance to do that. We have a chance to write history, to, make a difference in the world. So this is another point about overcoming barriers. I think, everybody's professional journey is different. And inside and outside the courtroom, we talked about that a little bit. As far as inside the courtroom, everybody's got their own style with that. I think a lot of it goes back to, again, who is your mentor when you're learning to practice law, and who kind of trains you. But like I said, everybody at my firm is taught to have professionalism, decorum in the courtroom. We don't do the screaming. We don't do the paper shuffling. We don't do any of that. Same thing with outside the courtroom, when you're corresponding with opposing counsel, or when you're out in a networking event or something in the community. So one of our values here at the firm is community. And so we have a lot of sponsorships and events that we do in our local communities, that we get out and we talk to potential clients about family law. We'll talk to women's groups. We'll do estate planning as well. We'll go and talk to retirement homes about estate planning. So I think just being your authentic self, being your well-rounded person that you are, and not letting that, that persona of the adversarial attorney that we, sometimes we want to harden ourselves to that. You guys all know from going to law school, I think, I feel like law school kind of sets us up to be this way. So mostly everybody going to law school is kind of like a type A personality. We're all kind of similar, real competitive. But then when you get in law school, they just kind of pit you against each other because you're graded on this bell curve, and nobody wants to be, behind the 8 ball on anything. So you're kind of in this really competitive environment. And then when you graduate, that just kind of continues. And so it's just exacerbated in your professional life as well. So I think sometimes we have to just kind of let our guard down a little bit on that, and just remember that, we're all people. Like, this is a job at the end of the day. This is our job. So, we don't have to torment the other side. So just remember to connect with people. And when you're, when you're running your business, connecting with people, relationships is the most important thing you can do for yourself. So just remember to take your adversarial self out of that and take the time to connect with your closing counsel. Like I'm kind of known for like, I joke around a lot. Like I try to like make light of a lot of stuff that's going on because these are really heavy issues. And same thing with my clients. Like of course I'm serious when I need to be, but I kind of try to lighten things. And I think that helps keep things in perspective because sometimes as lawyers, I think we take ourselves a little too seriously. And that's just, some of that is just overkill. So I would say this is not rocket science, and it's not. So, it's, just to be your authentic self is what I would say.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on law practice and legal marketing. See you in our next clip.